We're officially in the dog days of the NBA offseason as the calendar is about to flip to August. The biggest question now for the Raptors remains, what's going to happen with Pascal Siakam? Will the Raptors keep Siakam, or will they trade him and enter a rebuild? What's going on, everyone? It's Luca here, back with another video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the Raptors situation with Pascal Siakam. I know I haven't done a Raptors video in a while. I was actually at Summer League, got to see a Raptors game there, along with some other NBA teams. Can't believe it's already August, or almost August. So in this one, I thought it'd be a good idea to weigh in on the Pascal Siakam stuff. There hasn't been a whole lot at a Raptors land, but the one big question mark, like I said, remains, what's going on with Pascal Siakam? If you guys can do me a solid favor, please hit a like on the video. It does help a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Your support is always greatly appreciated. So Pascal Siakam is under contract for one more year, which means he can enter unrestricted free agency in the summer of 2024. Now, Siakam wants to stay with the Raptors and reportedly is not interested in signing a new deal with another team, which does hurt the Raptors' ability to get adequate value back for him. However, despite all that, the Raptors have not shown an eagerness to offer Siakam a new deal to lock him up this summer, with unrestricted free agency looming next summer. So it seems like the Raptors front office is still debating what they want to do, which direction they want to take. This has been the theme for almost a year now, I feel. The Pascal Siakam trade rumors were coming in hot a few weeks ago. I was in Vegas with Raptors Nation, Lakers Nation, about to do a show on Pascal Siakam, and there was a lot of news coming out about a potential Pascal Siakam trade. But now things stand still, it seems, ahead of August, and there does not appear to be any significant traction on a trade involving Siakam, league sources told Clutch Points. Of the teams pursuing Siakam, it's been the Atlanta Hawks that have been the most aggressive team, sources said. Mark Stein and Chris Haynes on This League Uncut said that John Collins was included in the Siakam package before he got moved. And the Hawks being interested in Siakam makes a ton of sense. I mean, look at the Hawks. They have win-now guys in Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, and Siakam paired with those guys would make the Hawks a very compelling team in the East. Speaking of the Hawks, I did see and say hi to head coach of the Atlanta Hawks, Quinn Snyder, in my last day at Vegas. I should have asked him, hey Quinn, are you guys still trying to trade for Siakam? What's the holdup here? But clearly, the Hawks haven't been able to wow the Raptors with any deals thus far. And then you look at the Indiana Pacers, they were one of the teams that were also interested in Pascal Siakam, but nothing came from it as well. We heard the Orlando Magic's name come up. Quite a bit of teams, it seems, have been interested in Siakam. But despite all that, the Raptors have not made a deal to this point, and what the Raptors don't want to do is not have a plan once again and handle the Siakam situation as they handle the Fred VanVleet and even Kyle Lowry situation. I mean, looking back at the VanVleet situation, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, guys, but it was a complete disaster. As you look at the NBA trade deadline, VanVleet was actually widely viewed as one of the league's top trade targets, as according to Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher, he reported that opposing executives had even labeled VanVleet as the most likely Raptor to be traded before the deadline. Of course, the Raptors, they decided to be buyers instead of sellers. They held on to VanVleet. They added Jakob Poeltl to the starting lineup, hoping to jumpstart this team's fortunes, but unfortunately for the Raptors, that just resulted in a very disappointing play-in exit. Then VanVleet declined his player option for the 2023-2024 season as he entered unrestricted free agency, and as we know the story, VanVleet got paid handsomely, took the bag with the Rockets, and the Raptors lost Fred VanVleet for nothing. Now, I'm happy the Raptors didn't overpay for VanVleet, as I said in a prior video, and I didn't want the Raptors to get desperate to keep him, but it was very poor management by the Raptors to lose an all-star for absolutely nothing. And then, of course, you go back to the whole Kyle Lowry situation. You can argue that the Raptors may have held on to him too long because with the 2021 NBA trade deadline fast approaching, it seemed like Lowry had a lot of interested teams in him. Teams like the Clippers, Heat, and Sixers had all reportedly expressed interest in acquiring Lowry, and it looked like Lowry had waved goodbye before the deadline. But of course, the Raptors held on to Lowry past the deadline and then traded him in the summer, which ended up being a sign and trade to Miami as the deal brought back Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic. Now, the Raptors did at least get something for Lowry, as Achiuwa still has a lot of upside, but maybe the Raptors could have gotten more if they had struck a deal at the deadline instead of waiting. And remember, that was a lost season for the Raptors. They ended up being a lottery team. They ended up getting the 4th pick. They ended up drafting Scottie Barnes. So the Raptors' patience has burned them before. So if they decide to be patient with the Siakam situation, it could end up burning them again. The last thing the Raptors want to do is play the dangerous game of leaving this thing towards the end and potentially having another all-star leave for nothing. We know Siakam wants to stay here, but money talks, and things could get messy for the Raptors if they play this one out. Now, my guess, just seeing this thing from my perspective, is that the Raptors probably still do want to trade Siakam, but haven't received a compelling enough offer yet. I mean, that has to be it, right? Or else, why wouldn't they have extended Siakam yet? Especially after he said he wants to be here. And I think a Siakam trade does make sense for this franchise for various reasons. If the Raptors run things back, as is with Siakam, how much better will this team be than last season? Even if they are better, they still have a second round ceiling, and that's being very generous. And if the Raptors are very bad this year after they trade Siakam before or even during the season, it's not the worst thing in the world. Remember, the Spurs have the Raptors 2024 first round pick, which is top 6 protected. So if it's within the top 6, the Raptors keep it. So if the Raptors bottom out, they'd essentially keep the pick. But if they're a middling team, once again, that pick would go to San Antonio. Now, I know the 2024 NBA draft is looking like a weaker draft class, but that's still another young potential player you can add to this team if the Raptors do get a pick within the top 6. And then lastly, if you extend Siakam and pay him big money, is it worth it? Siakam is a great number 2, but he hasn't proven that he can be a number 1 guy. So why continue to invest in him, paying him number 1 guy's money? And he's also 29 years old, and his services would be more useful on a team closer to a championship than this Raptors team that is still trying to figure out what they're doing. Now, what transpires leading up to training camp in September is going to be very telling as to what the Raptors actually want to do. If the Raptors don't trade Siakam this offseason and don't offer him a contract extension either, Siakam will be in the center of all trade conversations once the new NBA season begins. In other words, this thing might continue to play out all the way until the end if the Raptors don't make a decision before the end of this offseason. We'll see what happens, but what do you think the Raptors should do? What do you think they will do? Do you think the Raptors will end up keeping Siakam and extend him? Or do you think the Raptors are waiting for the right opportunity to trade Pascal Siakam? I think the Raptors still want to trade Siakam, and they're just being patient with it. But they better not be too patient with it, because we know that could, of course, burn them. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. And subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content just like this. I will definitely continue to watch what happens with the Siakam situation, just like I know all of you will. And we will see how it all ends. As always, guys, thank you so much for your continued support. This is Lucas signing off. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next video.